we're gonna do a little analysis on arms and hands. So 3 simple points to remember when it comes to the arms and hands. They need to have a purpose, a story, be driven with intention or at rest, one or the other. Avoid straight angles without purpose, right? A straight angle without purpose is gonna feel unnatural. Avoid right angles without purpose. Right angles up, this is very unnatural. It's a very high action, high energy type look, okay? So avoid right angles without purpose, avoid, and what I mean with without purpose is if you want, look, if I'm Pi Jirsa and I shoot the 5D Mark IV, I'm gonna do this because I wanna feature the camera and that's what this is about, right? But if this is a picture of Pi Jirsa and I just happen to shoot Canon, I'm gonna do this, where it takes a much smaller presence in the frame than this, correct? So just understand that when you bring hands up to right angles or give energy to an object, there needs to be a reason in the frame. Okay, so let's look at a couple different images. So notice how there's a bend in the elbow, but we're avoiding a right angle, right? It's just a right angle would be coming straight out like this. We're letting the arms go back and then letting it tip down. We're keeping the attention on her by using the leading line of the veil that goes up and into her eyes. Her eyes are coming to the camera. The bouquet's a big part of this image, but it's not the emphasis of the image, correct? And we're not being pulled to it by anything because there's not enough energy being given to it. Okay, hand holding, arms at rest, and just relaxed. She's hand holding on her dress. That arm is at rest. His other arm is at rest. One hand is posed. Okay, this is an example of what we're going to talk about later on, which is basically mimicking, when both hands are doing the exact same thing. Not only are the arms too straight, but they're both doing the same thing. When have you ever gone to a curtain and went, like, that's not natural, right? So if we want something to look natural, we bring one hand lower, we create soft bends, we create soft wrists, and we open it like you would naturally. If you think about it in life, when do you ever go and, like, how awkward is it if everything I do is with 2 hands doing the exact same thing? Nobody ever does that, right? We go and grab it, one hand's doing something else, I'm gonna go do this. So we need to keep that realism up. Okay, arms and hands with purpose. Her arm is going up and around. I'd like to see a little bit more of her fingers so we could see it on that side. His arm's going up and around. Her arm is actually straight down in this, but what makes it okay? It's hanging straight, right? We said avoid straight angles without purpose. What makes this okay? The bouquet. Because the bouquet is literally hanging at rest. And it's clear that she's holding it. We have a question on this side?
So a little off topic, but in that picture you said you wanted to see more fingers. Mm-hmm. But sometimes people recommend not showing hands or fingers because it kind of appears as a ghost hand or
spooky hands.
Spooky hands.
We're going to talk about spooky hands in a little bit.
Okay.
The reason why this doesn't appear like spooky hands is because you can actually see where the hand is coming from. See how the arm's coming up? So because we can see the arm going up, it'd be nice to see more of the fingers because we do see the arm. If you didn't see the arm and you just saw the fingers, you get spooky hands, and we'll talk about that. Jen.
So for this one,
This one?
Yeah, this one. Even if she didn't have the bouquet, wouldn't it still be purposeful because her other hand is wrapped around him?
It might feel like if you're holding a bouquet or you're holding a camera and you're at rest, it makes sense for the tension to pull your elbow straight, right? But if you're not holding something, when is there enough tension to actually cause that arm? See how like my arm's at complete rest right now? It'd be unusual if it were like this, right? As soon as I extend like this, that becomes unusual unless something is weighing it down and that object is at rest. Does that kind of make sense? So if there weren't something there, you'd be fine to leave it straight, but just with that natural soft bend in the arm. Let's look at this one. So in this one from Photographing the Bride, I love this angle of going down and up across the arm. What I'd like to avoid is the right angle of it. So it feels very awkward and unnatural to try and bring the arm up to a right angle like this, and you get this weird crease in the back, and it's really uncomfortable. So instead, you have them hold lower. So it's a softer angle, softer wrists, and that's what we have here. We're avoiding the right angle. We're drawing this arm is again hanging straight because the bouquet is hanging from the arm, right? So we're okay. Okay? This hand, the bouquet's on his back, for crying out loud. When is that ever okay? But is there a problem with this shot? No? Because you can see her arm going up and over, and she's kind of resting it on his back, and that's fine. But if you think about it, it's a very unusual placement of a bouquet, yet it doesn't feel weird, right? If you were to hold the bouquet in any other way, where's our succulents? My succulents. Joe, come up here for a sec. I want to demonstrate with you. Okay. Let's go to this side. I'm going to be the woman. I want my light.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So putting a bouquet over here is kind of odd, is it not? But as soon as it's at rest and it's just part of it, then for some reason it just all of a sudden feels, oh, stop it. Let's keep a natural distance, buddy. So understand that. The other hand, notice that her other hand is going up into his chest, okay? It's not a right angle. A right angle makes it look like you're pushing somebody away, right? Like if I were uncomfortable with this, I would be pressing up against him. That's one of the things that in a lot of images, it makes it feel like the woman is actually confronting him because you have broken wrists, right angles with the arm. So as soon as you do this, it becomes, I don't want any interaction. So when we do this, it's so weird. Okay, I'm done with that.
Hi. Is it right angle or is it horizontal line of the arm that's the tension?
I feel like it could be either. Like a horizontal arm in a frame, a horizontal line in a frame is not natural in general, right? Like anything that's going straight down and across the frame is weird. Unless you're playing the piano or typing. So, and those are again situations where breaking a rule would actually work, correct? So the whole point of this is to understand the point or the purpose, because if you were taking a shot of somebody actually typing, that's fine. That's what it should be. So that's the next point is rules are actually meant to be broken as long as you break them with purpose. And I had a couple examples of this. One is, this is Matt, this is a fitness shoe. I have a couple fitness examples because we break a lot of the rules. Matt holding on these bars going straight out. His arms are fully extended and then the core is tightened. And what were we trying to show in this?
Muscles.
Strength, muscles. This is a wingspan shot. So we're trying to show the length arm to arm. So there's a purpose behind it and it makes it okay. Likewise, her leg is up, her arms are up. This is a posed shot. Why is that okay though?
Because you're trying to show exactly that.
And what is she doing? She's doing crunches. Like it makes sense, right? So something that wouldn't make sense in one scene will make sense here because it fits. He's elongating, going straight up with that weight, keeping the wrist or keeping the elbow completely straight. Again, something that's unnatural, but it works fine. It's a fitness image designed to convey height and length. Hers is a yoga pose. She's breaking every single rule there, literally, like physical rules, physics, posing rules, everything. Looks great though. Looks great. Does that make sense? Any questions on arms and hands and placements and stories and all that kind of stuff? Just understand that if there's any bit of energy in the hands, if the hands are doing anything, you need to understand what they're doing in that story. The viewer needs to understand what they're doing in that story. Otherwise, there's going to be a disconnect. Cool? Okay, let's go on to hip spacing. Welcome to Posing Nuances, Chapter 6. So, the last chapter, let's go ahead and jump into Chapter 6. The last chapter was all about body language. And I would say that body language are things that will break your image. Like if your body language is off, those are all things that are big enough to actually make it photograph just not work and not be deliverable. Nuances are more of like, well, to get the complete cell, we need body language. We also need all these nuances built into it for a complete cell. But I want to say that expression trumps all. These nuances are things that are like, they're small. They're things to help perfect an image. But if you have a great expression, these are not anything. Not anything in this chapter are things that will actually break your photograph, okay? But they are things to keep in mind when taking pictures, you know. All right, number 1, pose mimicking. I want to do a quick study of journalism for you guys so you guys can see what journalistic moments look like. Journalistic moment of the groom dancing up onto the bride right before he takes off her garter. Notice her hands, one's making like a fist, one hand is open, his hands is like one's forward, both doing this kind of position. Neither of them are mimicking each other. It's a very natural kind of moment. Grandma hugging the bride during the vidai. One arm's coming up and around, one arm's going down, her arm's coming up in this side, and one arm is going around the back of grandma. Mother-son dance. One arm's going up and around, one arm's going up and down, his arms are going this way, right? Father-daughter dance. Her arm is going up and back to his shoulder, arm, and then the other arm is going to her lower back. Her taking the dress down. One arm's going up, one arm's holding the dress, going out. Dancing. His arm's up, hers straight out. The point of that is to say that in none of these cases of journalism are their hands doing the exact same thing as each other. Kevin and Caitlin, why don't you guys come up for 1 second? Joe, can you get the camera ready? Yep. Lovely. That's perfect. I love that. That's great. So pose mimicking, if I said guys hug each other without any pose guidance, what might end up happening is that, which isn't bad. Both his hands go to the same place on her hip, both her hands, she's actually doing this pretty well. One hand over here is over the wrist, and the other hand is here. But what if like the hands were like more like this, right? And what if yours were doing the same thing on that side? Like kind of both hands just kind of holding, like there you go. Okay, this starts to feel a little more forced, but what a lot of couples will do is actually completely mimic each other. So what if you held him the same way he was holding you? Okay, now, guys, look into the camera, lean the heads together, and we have the most awkward traditional portrait made. Right? This is a completely mimicked pose. They're both doing identical things, hands going down and across. And yet, while journalism has none of this, ever, like journalistic moments just don't have this, sometimes we go and create it as photographers. And whenever you see that, it doesn't matter what they're doing, even if they're looking at each other. What if you guys are looking at each other from right there? Okay. Even when their expressions are smiley and laughy, this still feels posed, does it not? It feels like we had involvement. So what's more natural? Well, like you did a second ago, when he was hugging into you, you had one hand kind of opened up on his back and one hand was on the wrist, just like that. And what I would do, Kevin, is like bring one hand onto her waist, and that's great, like one hand up and one hand down. Perfect. Now take that shot. Okay, and stay right where you guys are. Right away, you'll notice that the image becomes a lot more natural. Just right from, all we did was just make sure that they both weren't doing the exact same thing, that's it. By the way, shooting you in the shadow, throwing me off. Let me flip you around. Do the exact same thing without being in the shadow. There we go. Okay, does that make sense? Don't have them mimic each other in their poses. So let me give you an example of photojournalistic posing. Well, this, not such a good job. Both arms are doing the exact same thing, exact same angles, exact same everything. Much better. One arm up higher, one arm lower. Sure.
So in the photo examples that you were showing before with the girl that was partying and both her arms were up here, is that a wrong thing or was that what you wanted?
No, those are fine because she's like in a dance move. In a dance move, I mean, it's kind of like, but what I was showing was that the guy wasn't doing the same thing as the girl. You know what I mean? So like in a dance move, there are moments where like both hands will be doing the same thing. It's kind of what you do when you're dancing. I don't know what the, no. It's my people do that too, so, you know, yeah. So in choreography, there can be those moments, but generally in choreography, you don't have like, or generally in those kind of journalistic moments, the guy's hands are doing something different in all those cases. So if we want to simulate photojournalistic posing, you guys are great. You guys can have a seat for a sec. We have her sitting up, going arm around him, one hand going up into the chin, him holding onto the glasses, and one hand on the knee. He is making a closed fist here. We want that hand generally open up a little bit. Her, she's hugging onto his arm. His arm is down on this side. They're holding hands right here. His arm is hanging on this side. Looks fine. Okay, they're leaning into each other and sitting. Look at the pose, okay? His hand is rested on the knee's up and one knee out. Hers is into him and one knee away. Okay, everything is doing something a little bit different, right? So this is a very high production value image here. We have a spotlight that's landing on them. We have this crazy scene, and yet we have this moment that does feel authentic despite the production value of the shot. Her leaning into him, grabbing onto his tie, him kind of into the camera after he said something funny into her ear. I said, say something funny. I was like, whisper something funny in her ear. And he said something crazy, and then she was like, had that reaction. Same thing here. Look at this. His arm's going around. One arm is actually going lower. One arm of hers is right here. The other arm is right here. One's over the other hand. Looks great. This is a completely posed shot. I said, bridal party, I want you guys to all gather around the bride. I want you guys to get close together. And as you guys are walking, do whatever you think a gangster walk is. And they just start doing like this goofy little walk and like start walking. She starts laughing. She lifts up her dress as she's walking. And it was completely staged, yet everyone's doing something different and it feels very natural. Same thing here, completely set up, but each person is doing something different. Some are going arms around each other. Some have their arms relaxed. Some have their arms in their pockets. Some of the girls are holding bouquets up. Some of the bouquets are down. The bride is pumping her bouquet up and he's rocking out a little rock sign right there. This is the laughing version of that other shot. Everyone's doing something a little bit different. They're all posed a little bit different. Again, going back to if you're trying to create that look of a traditional portrait, that whimsical 1950s look, we have them mimic each other, right? That's what that look is. If we want a traditional portrait, we have them mimic each other. His hand in the pocket, hers relaxed, them making the same expression, same everything, looking right into the camera. This is, by the way, a very important shot to get on a wedding day. Not to say it isn't. You need a traditional portrait of the bride and groom. Whether it's this style or this style is going to depend on the couple, but you need it. But when we want to create journalistic moments and do that, we need to make sure that each of these things are different, right? The posing is different. We're not mimicking each other. Does that make sense on that? Any questions on pose mimicking? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to eye-to-eye contact. Eye-to-eye contact. Let's play a little game. All right, I want whoever you're sitting close to, sit closer to them. Michael and Liz. You two. Sit closer. Okay, you're with Maria. Joe, you're with Emily. Jonathan, you're all by yourself. Someone pair up with Jonathan right there. Carla, why don't you go be with Jonathan? All right, you guys are right there. That's great. What I want you guys to do is from this distance, turn and look at the other person now. How quick were you guys to start laughing? Almost instantly, right? How awkward was it? How quickly did you sense the awkwardness?
Incredibly.
It was like a split second, and then you realize how weird that was. Okay, you guys can sit at normal distances now. Now, yeah, it's difficult. You guys, and this is the thing, is that you guys weren't even as close as most of the time how often we make our couples get even closer, right? So if I had Caitlin and Kevin come up here for a second, we don't need to take a shot on this one. But let's say you guys were to look at each other, like you guys were sitting shoulder width apart, right? If you guys are in a closed pose, go into a closed pose and now look straight into each other's eyes. Okay? That is very, very weird and uncomfortable. Yet we do it all the time. We should stop. That's what I'm trying to say, is stop making people look directly into each other's eyes from that distance apart. There's a difference if you guys go into an open pose, face the camera, okay? Open pose, and now when you look at each other, that's different, right? There's a distance there, it's a little bit more comfortable, it's totally fine. It's still kind of like a stage type of moment, but it's less awkward. So when you look at this image right here, what you'll notice is the shot on the left, it works, it's fine, it's deliverable, but there's, to me, a sense of awkwardness in the fact that they're looking at each other from that distance. It makes it feel to me like a photographer set it up. Until they're about to go for a kiss. In the split second somebody's about to go for a kiss, usually the eyes will close, or they'll be glancing at each other just before they make connection. Sometimes they're going to be looking at each other's lips, okay? In that split second, the gazing is kind of okay because you can tell story purpose, like from a story standpoint, that they're about to go in for a kiss. And I actually have a little study of it. You guys are great now. Thank you. This is an actual kiss shot in sequence. So the kiss happens on the left, and then a split second after that, this is shot at like 7 frames a second. So this is all within basically 2 seconds. So the shot right after. So here, eyes closed when they go for the kiss. So by the way, if someone goes for a kiss and their eyes are open, how awkward is that going to feel in a camera? It's going to be really weird. So identify that and make sure their eyes are closed. Right afterwards, look at this. Her eyes are still going towards him, but they're still kind of closed, right? His are still going towards her. This is less than a second later. His eyes are already in front of her forehead. Hers are going down towards him. Do you see how less than a second from when that kiss actually happened, their eyes are actually not going directly at each other anymore? So, the purpose of this is to understand eye lines, okay? And that leads me into the next thing. We're just going to carry this right into the whites and eye lines. The other thing we want to make sure that we are aware of when it comes to the eyes are the whites of the eyes. Actually, let's have you guys come up real quick. This happens very easily when the chin is not pulled far enough. So for example, okay, let's have you guys hold hands right here. And let's have you look over to this side. Look towards Kevin, actually. Kevin, I want you to keep your chin kind of this way, but then bring your eyes over to Caitlin. Okay? Okay, take a picture of that. I just want this stuff for blackmail, basically. Like,
All day? All day? Alright, let's take another shot.
okay, now that's an exaggerated shot for sure. We're generally not going to go, everybody's going to be able to identify that that's weird, right? Okay. But if Caitlin's chin, this is what I want to show, you're looking back towards him. Okay, if I pull your chin back a little bit, but your eyes stay over him, it doesn't even have to be that exaggerated, and then take that shot again. So all I did was I pulled her chin a little bit back towards the camera, and look at how much more whites you're going to get now in the eyes. That still works. Pull it back a little bit more. Go like to bring the chin right here, and now look right at Kevin. Okay, there you go. Okay, so this happens from the chin being pulled too far away from where the eyes are looking, basically, right? And so what we want to do is just, you guys can make anything look somewhat okay, so that's totally fine. But all we got to do to fix it is basically bring the eyes over, bring the eyes in, bring the chin back towards where the eyes are looking so that the exaggeration isn't as much. So when you see her eyes going that far to the side, you either bring the chin over, or if you don't want her chin to go that far, you say, you know what, my dear, I want you to look down to the ground on this side. Kevin, you turn the chin into her and look towards her. And there you go. You create the shot by basically not requiring them to look directly at each other. Okay. Let's take a look at that. Perfect. And that's exactly what we did here. Was the eye line was very awkward in this shot. And so all I did was I just said, you know what, just look down like towards the strap of your dress instead of trying to look back at him. And then I have him still looking at her. And it looks fine. Okay, so what I want to analyze in this are the eye lines. And what we're looking for is, I love eye lines that lead into each other. because it holds us in the frame, right? So her eyes are basically going across, his are going across, and they eventually actually will cross over each other. So they're actually going down and into each other. And so you'll see me doing this a lot when I pose my couples, is we create eye lines that will actually cross each other, okay? So eye line, she was looking towards this side, him looking towards her, okay? Okay, so what this has a tendency to do is when you look at the image, without all these nasty X's, okay? So look at this. Again, we go back to what are the hands, the arms, the eyes doing, right? So look, arm up, eyes down, eyes across. Okay, so each one of these points is kind of holding us. So as we go down, we go another arm, we can go eyes and down and into the image. Okay, so we're framing and keeping a loop. Same thing here. So look, frame, frame, eyes, eyes. So we're trying to hold someone's attention as opposed to if he was looking out the camera, like out the view, you would go eyes up and out and then straight out of the frame because he's looking outside. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is if you were to hug into his arm, so I always just do this, and you guys have seen me do this already, is I say, Caitlin, I want you to kind of look down and towards this side. There you go. And Kevin, I want you to look towards her, okay, or down and towards her. Now, okay, Caitlin, it's your turn to whisper something funny into his ear. And what I want you to do is actually let's actually make this a little bit of a walking shot. So what I'm having you do is step back a little bit. Perfect. Hug into him, kind of flirty-like. Say something funny and sweet into his ear, and start slowly walking towards Joe. So go ahead and say that line. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Okay, so as these are loading, you guys can see, looking at the eye lines, the crossing of the lines, right? Throughout this entire sequence. It's natural, it feels good, because they're not forcing each other. If we were to do that exact same thing, guys, do that same thing, but look right in each other's eyes. Perfect. They're going to start casting shadows on each other when they get too close to that. So let's just see if the first one. Okay. It would still pass as acceptable, but it feels less natural. Right? It's a little bit odd. The expression does sell it, though. Any questions on eye lines, whites, anything like that? Does that all make sense? Joe?
Yeah, so I've seen some pictures that kind of work where the guy's looking off in the distance. In what instances would that actually work?
So, really good question. You've got an epic view. This is our epic view. All right. So let's do this. Guys, take a small step towards this side. Okay. Keep going a little bit that way. I want you to hug onto him, Caitlin, kind of like, I want this to be like an intimate moment where, that's really cute actually. Let's do that, but do it around this shoulder. So both arms come up and around this arm. There you go. And then maybe one hand go up and under. So bring the other hand, your left hand. Sorry. Left hand up and under, this hand over. Perfect, just like that. I want you to lean into him a little bit. Perfect. And Kevin, this is a beautiful sunset. I just want you to look. The beautiful sunset is behind you, but I want you to look out in this direction as if you're looking at the beautiful sunset. Now, when you take this shot, so take this shot, leave the open side of the frame where the beautiful sunset is. Okay, so now he's looking out towards this side where there's a beautiful view, and she's kind of looking into him. I want to make sure that you're kind of like gazing into him a bit. So turn a little bit more kind of like open to her. She's hugging into him. You're looking kind of out and towards this side. You're probably going to look more towards this side. And then, Caitlin, look down and towards your hand a little bit. Let's go ahead and, oh, beautiful. Perfect. Yes. It's a beautiful sunset. Perfect. So if he's looking out, now again, we're saying in this, let's not use this as a pointer. We're saying that the background is actually the sunset, right? So he's actually not looking at the sunset, but he's looking out into the scene. We leave the open side of the frame as that view, then it takes on like an okay kind of feel to it where it's like, it makes sense. We can see what they're looking at, we can see the expanse, we can see the openness, and it feels more natural.
So you wouldn't do this kind of pose for like a portrait then, like a portrait with an 85?
No, because you're gonna sense, Joe, zoom into a 70 millimeter. Okay. Kevin, look up and towards this light. Look down and towards him. Zoom in and do that close up. Go landscape. Go closer so you can't see any of the background or anything like that. Just go close. All of a sudden you get this like 1980s, like what's happening? What's he looking at? Doesn't it have that Step Brothers kind of look to it? Now, anyway, just for the sake of this, both of you guys look at the light and kind of have the Step Brothers look right now. Yes. Does that not have this kind of like weird feeling to the image? It has this weird like, I don't know. This is like the old school portraits that they used to do in a studio and have them look off and into the light, and it just feels completely unnatural. But hey, if you're trying to mimic the old school look for a joke, do it, by all means. Any other questions? Please just go out and shoot this photo for every one of your clients. Not for Lynn and Jirsa. On your own. All right, guys, let's go ahead and go to the next video now.